This week on the Analog Circle podcast, Xbox could start giving away Game Pass for free, but it will come with a catch. We get more information about the alleged PS5 Pro, but according to reports, we may get confirmation from Sony that it does exist sooner than later. Fallout 4's next-gen update has been delayed, and Naughty Dog has officially canceled Factions.
Move this man!
Yeah, we're going to get into all of these stories and quite a few more here in episode 190 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and I truly want to thank you guys for being here. Truly appreciate that, brothers and sisters. Yes, indeed. So, with all of that being said, guys, if you want to be a part of the feedback episode, which we will be recording this week if we get some more feedback, you can always do it two different ways to be on that episode. You can either call in at 443-380-0281 and let your voice be heard. Or you can email the show, and the email address is simply the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. So without further ado, guys, you know how we do it over here. Let's go ahead and get into what we come here for, and that is the gaming news. Woo! That went down. So let's start with some Xbox news. So last week, CFO of Microsoft Gaming, Tim Stewart, had some very controversial comments where he mentioned he would want to see Game Pass on PlayStation and Nintendo platforms during a Wells Fargo summit. So it's no doubt they want Game Pass to be huge, so huge that Tim Stewart also described a scenario where they would give Game Pass access in exchange for viewing advertisements. Now, Stewart says, quote, for models like Africa or India, Southeast Asia, maybe places that aren't console first, you can say, hey, do you want to watch 30 seconds of an ad and then get 2 hours of game streaming? That's interesting. Africa is, 50% of the population is 23 years or younger with a growing disposable income base, all with cell phones and mobile devices, not a lot of high-end disposable income, generally speaking. So we can go in with our own business models and say, there's millions of gamers we would never have been able to address, and now we can go in with our business models. End of quote. Now, also it's worth noting Title OS, who is a security researcher, describes systems that would provide access to Game Pass via on a quote earned time, end of quote, basis, complete in 15-minute blocks. And even though it's a completely different metric, I looked up how much money you could make on YouTube for, like 50 million views on an ad, and Google said you could make between 50,000 to 500,000 or more. So I'm taking it, if this does become a reality, Microsoft would probably charge advertisers a similar fee to get that many eyes on a single product. And that still wouldn't include the people that are actually paying, that are paid subscribers, with that revenue coming in. So with this model, good grief, would that be something that you guys would be interested in? Of course, you guys know me. I am not a Game Pass supporter. It's not my thing. I much rather own my games instead of having a whole buffet of different games to choose from. But that is just me. I'm a minuscule piece to this puzzle. There are plenty of people out there that love the Game Pass model. So if this was a thing where you had to sit there and look at different ads for 30 seconds or a minute, similar to YouTube, to get 15-minute blocks of Game Pass, 15-minute playable blocks in Game Pass, would that be something you would do? Now, of course, this seems like this is something that they're going to try to put into effect, like I said, over in India, in Africa, where the disposable income, it is growing, but it's not quite where they would like for it to be. So to get them into the ecosystem, have them look at some ads, and then in exchange for looking at the ads, they get to play games for a certain amount of time. It is very interesting. Gaming is in such a different place. And of course, I want to, put this caveat out there as well. This has not taken place or has even been implemented yet, but this is just something that, of course, the CFO, he was talking about, just making this a possible scenario where they would be able to make more money, and not charge people to actually subscribe to Game Pass. So it's just very, very interesting. Tim Stewart is trying to get the bag. This joke is trying to get to it, but we will see. And like I said, you get 50 million views. I told you the Google had said that that's between 50,000 and 500,000 or more if you're getting that many views. If you have that many people on Game Pass, which wasn't that the magic number? I think they said it would have to reach around 50 million before the service could actually be profitable. Well, this may be a case where, look, they're looking at it from that standpoint. If we get 50 million people in the service, and then we have, maybe out of that 50 million, maybe 35 or 40, which you don't want that. Well, let's just say they get 75 to 80 million. 50 million people are paying and the other 35 to 40 aren't. If you have those kinds of numbers and you're having big success with having people watch other advertisements, that's an extra $50,000 to $500,000 possibly a month that Xbox or Microsoft could be getting. So it's a very interesting model. We'll have to stay tuned to see if they do end up implementing this sometime later on down the road. But let's go ahead and let's move into the next story. So in unfortunate news, Free Radical Design has unfortunately closed their doors. Now, this Free Radical Design, however, was founded back in 2021 to revive the Time Splitters franchise with former staff from the original games brought on board. Now, senior tech artist Adam Cararli said, man, y'all know I'm a butcher a name every time, each episode. I'm batting 1,000, unfortunately, on this. But Cararli, he said, quote, "The last day at FDR was very different from what I imagined. I don't think it sunk in properly just yet, but handed my keys in and left the building the last time." End of quote. Again, unfortunately, another studio closing down, and we had got word about this last week. Well, last week I didn't record, did I? I didn't do an episode last week. My apologies, guys. Do I have an excuse? Nope, I don't. I'm not going to sit up here and say, I had something come up, I was busy or anything like that. Nah, I just didn't get a chance to record. I do apologize for it though. Humbly, I truly do apologize, but I don't want to come on here and make a million excuses why I didn't record. I just didn't, unfortunately, get around to it. I apologize. I don't want to blow smoke, but, the thing is, though, we had got word about this in the last episode. It wasn't last week, but the week before last, that Time Splitters was going to be canceled, as well as a couple of other projects, because that studio, the parent company studio, is in a lot of trouble, unfortunately, financially, and they had to do some cutbacks. So as a result, unfortunately, it looks like, golly, I didn't think they were going to shut down the whole studio as a result of this. But yeah, they're shutting down. And that Time Splitters remake, or that the comeback that was supposed to happen, unfortunately, it's off the table for good now. So it's very, very unfortunate. I actually got this story from Eurogamer to give them their credit. And I hope these developers and designers, I hope they definitely fall on their feet and can get back in there and get work to be able to take care of their family. But let's move on to the next story. So I also got this other story from Eurogamer. So, did I give the other story their credit? I don't think I did. That first story talking about Microsoft actually not charging, but letting people have Game Pass if they look at ads. I actually got that from Windows Central. All right. So this next story, like I said, I got it from Eurogamer. So I will put this caveat out here first. Now, I'm not a fan of this franchise, but Fortnite has a new music mode called Fortnite Festival. And on the FAQ page, it asks, quote, does Fortnite Festival support instrument controllers? End of quote. Now, the answer is, quote, not at launch, but it's a priority for the team and currently under development. We'll have more to share in 2024. End of quote. Now, by the way, this new music mode, which I said, oh, shucks, this is dope. This new music mode that is being implemented into Fortnite is being developed by Harmonix. Now, Harmonix, we're talking about Rock Band Beatles. These guys had a heck of a run during that genre, that music genre era back in the early to mid 2000s when DJ Hero was out there, Guitar Hero, and then even it was one by Ubisoft where you actually had to learn how to play a real guitar out there. So just to see something like this making a comeback, having the instruments. Now, I don't know if they're going to do drum sets again or anything like that, but I'm sure guitars will be one of the instruments making a comeback. Who knows? Maybe drums will, but only time will tell. But I do think this is really, really cool. I love the way that Fortnite is. One thing I gotta give them credit for over there at Epic is they continue to make sure that Fortnite is updated on a constant basis, and it's updates that are really worth their player base's time. So something like this, that means they're going to be able to sell music tracks and this is going to open up a whole nother lane for these guys to actually make more money. So not only are you buying map packs, but now you're going to be buying music packs as well. This is absolutely incredible. I can't wait to see what happens with this. Of course, once again, I want to be as transparent as possible. I'm not a fan of Fortnite, but when I see something that I think is cool, despite it being a game that I might not play, I love to put a bit of a spotlight on it to give them their credit. So something like this is really, really cool to see, especially for a person like myself who is literally looking at my DJ Hero Renegade box as I record the podcast on my shelf that has Jay-Z and Eminem on the box, where I got the limited edition CD with Jay-Z and Eminem, in the package. I absolutely loved DJ Hero. It was my favorite music game ever. Rock Band, I owned Rock Band. It was great. Enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun with it with friends and family. It was a great time, but it was something about scratch it on that DJ table. That DJ tape, man, let me tell you something, brothers. You couldn't tell me I wasn't doggone DJ Premier up on that joint, brother, doing all of the scratching. Oh, man, it was fantastic. It was a tragedy that game did not sell more. It was so amazing. And I bought both of them, DJ Hero 1 And I bought DJ Hero 2, just the video game. I ain't go out and buy a whole nother turntable. I didn't need to do all of that, but it was fantastic. One of the best, like I said, one of my favorite gaming, my favorite music game of all time. DJ Hero, hands down. But we'll see what happens with this Fortnite situation with the instruments. Man, could you imagine they bring back a turntable? That y'all bring back a turntable on Fortnite? I don't know, brothers. I might have to check that out. I don't know. But we will see, brothers. I don't want to waste y'all time. We're going to go ahead and we're going to move on into the next story. So this next story I got from Push Square. So insider Tom Henderson is back at it. And this time it's more information about the rumored PS5 Pro console, where he was responding to alleged technical specifications about the PS5 Pro, where he over on Twitter, on a Twitter post, he said, quote, "Can't comment on other people's leaks because I don't know. Internally, Sony, and this is very important, listen to this, guys. He says, internally, Sony is expecting full specs to leak this month because of dev kit distribution to third-party studios," end of quote. And just to retread a bit of the so-called specs for the PS5 Pro, I wrote them down. It will allegedly feature a AMD Zen 2 CPU, 4.4 gigahertz, XDNA2 NPU, AI-focused AMD architecture, stable upscaled 4K output at higher than 30 frames, Radeon custom RDNA 3 architecture with a targeted frequency at 2 gigahertz, and Fortnite. Now this is where I'm like, this is just ridiculous. I don't believe this, but it's saying it's going to be between 14 and 29 teraflops. You are lying. Stop it. With 16 gigabytes DDR6 memory at 576 gigabytes bandwidth. And again, these specs are according to website, quote, many of many, end of quote. 14 to 29, man, if they do 14 to 29 teraflops, you may as well call that the PS6. And with that much doggone power, I mean, of course, again, I'm not a spec guy. I don't understand what any of this stuff means. Maybe one of you guys can call in and explain it and break it down to me, because I have no idea. But I will say this, it sounds powerful. It sounds extremely powerful. Will this thing be running at 4K native 60 frames per second? And that to me, now, of course, you guys know my stance. I am not a fan of these mid-gen updates or mid-gen upgrades. I'm not. I'd rather we just rock out the console generation with the consoles that we have, max those things out, and then move into the next generation. That's just how I feel. When I saw The Last of Us Part 2 on the PlayStation 4, golly, those last couple of games, I'm talking Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2, they stand out the most to me, along with, and it was a bit of a different game, but Detroit Become Human also was a beautiful game to look at. A little different, not quite on the same lines as The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, but still, if we're talking about graphics, that thing was marvelous to look at. I didn't beat it either. I have it and I still haven't beat it. But I'm just saying that to say that if you give it time and you let these developers finally get in the groove of what these consoles are able to do, those are the kind of results you can get. So when you're talking about doing these mid-gen upgrades, for me, I think it's a waste of time because we haven't even tapped in to what these consoles right now can currently do. So to me, if the PlayStation 5 Pro is not going to be doing a minimum of 60 frames per second, 4K native, on everything, then I think it is a waste of time. And even on games that might not be as graphically demanding, they should be running those at 120 frames per second. And if they are not, again, to me, it is not worth the upgrade, because I'm taking it that this thing is going to be between $500 and $600. Now, if you're talking about what these guys are saying, 20 something teraflops, that is absolutely insanity. That's going to be even higher. So to me, again, if they are not offering something on those lines of 120 frames per second for certain games and 4K native resolution with 60 frames per second on everything, this is, to me, again, a waste of everybody's time. But we will see, because according to Tim Henderson, Sony is trying to get out in front of this and just tell everybody what the specs are before they're actually leaked from third parties, because they have allegedly sent these dev kits out. And this month, it's supposed to leak. I don't know about that, Tom Henderson, but the thing is about Tom, this guy has been on point with a lot of different things. So it's kind of hard to go against what he says. I mean, nobody gets it right 100% of the time. Jordan didn't make every single, basket at the buzzer, but his percentage was good enough where you believed that once he got the ball, he would make the shot, so that's kind of how I'm looking at it with Tom Henderson. Whenever he says something, it's like it could be wrong, but because of his track record being as good as it is, I kind of lean on the side of it being true. But, this month is almost over. And, good grief, do you guys know, it just hit me. Christmas is next Monday. Next Monday. Christmas Eve is Sunday of next week. And pardon me, if you guys keep hearing this thing rumbling in the background, it's actually my sump pump. We're getting a lot of rain here in Baltimore right now. So the sump pump, shout out to that thing. That thing is keeping all of the rain and stuff out of our basement. And I'm appreciative. So I do apologize for the noise, but I just wanted to, put that out there for you guys if y'all were wondering what that was. But, yeah, the thing is, anyway, listen, man, I have rambled on about this enough. I don't know if it's gonna, happen. We'll see later on this month. This month is really getting out of here soon, but we shall see. It will be very interesting to know if this thing is real or not. But, the PS5 Pro, that is. But let's go ahead and move on into the next story. So, where was I at? Hold on. Oh, I got it. All right. So let's move on into some Ubisoft news. And I got this story from Gaming Bolt. So Skull and Bones, man, this game has been advertised since 2001, brother. I mean, this thing is like 100 years old. We've been waiting on this game. So, they are going to be having a closed beta from December 14th to December 18th, starting at 1 a.m. Pacific time and ending 12 midnight Pacific time. Or if you're on the East Coast like myself, it'll be 3 a.m. Now, you will be able to play 6 hours. You'll be able to sell commodities, crafting, meet other players, bounty contracts, explore the coast of Africa, just to name a few activities you'll be able to participate in. Now the game releases, once again, here we go with this release date. This thing been releasing, like I said, for 70 years now, but they're saying the game is going to release now on February 16th. For what appears to be all current gen consoles. And just for clarity, it was no mention of last gen hardware, which is a fantastic sign that we are finally starting to shift away from last gen consoles. Let me ask y'all something, man. For the guys that are my age, I'm 44, so I'm getting up there, brothers. It's a blessing. But for you guys that are my age, do you guys miss the era where when that Super Nintendo came out, or that PlayStation 2 came out, or the Sega Saturn or the Dreamcast, when it released, you knew that all resources were going to that platform. It wasn't, well, we're still going to be trying to do two games, splitting it between the Super Nintendo and the N64, the development, or we're going to go from PlayStation 1 and still try to make PlayStation 1 games, but spin it to have it on PlayStation 2. It was none of that. I really miss just being able to just cut off that last generation and move on to the next, because that right there has been holding us back. I guarantee it. I know it's been holding us back, because now you got to make different versions of the game. Hey, we got to cut back on this, but anyway, y'all get my point. I would love to know, do y'all just miss that? Look, you get a new console, this is the next generation. This is what they're going to be putting all of their resources on, and we're going to get the most out of this new hardware. Goodness, I wish they would go back to that, because this new practice they got going on right now, God, dog, is terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
This man.
Good grief. When are y'all gonna let those other consoles go? I mean, that's why I say this is a good sign. Hopefully the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 era of this cross-gen development, hopefully that is over. But anyway, let's go ahead and move into the next story. So I got this story from Loadout, and this is unfortunate. Oh man, Insomniac Games news, they have been they have been a victim of a ransomware attack, showcasing private documents as well as an in-game look at the upcoming PS5 exclusive Wolverine. Now, the image that was leaked is described as showing Wolverine in his classic yellow and black suit with his cowl on, which is great. I mean, that takes me back to 90s X-Men, the cartoon. Oh man, y'all remember that? Listen, I ain't gonna do it. God dog, y'all know what I'm talking about if y'all was there. But they're gonna have him, they had a picture of him, like I said, in his yellow and black suit with his cowl on, standing in a third person view inside of a rundown room. Now, the other screenshot shows Logan in normal attire with a cowboy hat, which, that was what the trailer, had released with originally. But, the Rysida attire, with the cowboy hat on. Yeah, it's called the Rysida Group, who is behind this attack, is asking for $2 million. Okay, so I kind of wrote that a little wrong, but, that's the name of the group. It's spelled RHYSIDA, Rysida Group. They're the guys that have done this attack, and they're asking Insomniac for $2 million and are giving Insomniac 7 days to comply. That is coming up very soon. I think Tuesday will be 7 days. And if they don't do this, they said Rysida has an auction starting at $2 million to sell off the data by saying, quote, with just 7 days on the clock, seize the opportunity to bid on exclusive, unique, and impressive data, end of quote. I will tell you guys this, man. It's one thing that I cannot stand, and man, I will get into it over this, is a thief. I don't use this word much, but I absolutely hate thieves. It is something that gets under my skin like nothing else, because I look at it as, you have the audacity to steal something from me that I worked on for days, months, years, tirelessly at my job to acquire this, and you think you can simply just come in and just take it with no work or effort being put into to you taking something that took me so long to acquire. I can't stand it. I truly hope that these guys get caught and that, who's this? Insomniac, that they don't have to pay these guys a dime, a nickel, a penny for this. I'm not looking at it from the perspective of, okay, this is a multi-million-dollar company. They can afford to take the hit. They can give them the $2 million. Oh, so what? It's deeper than that for me, because I just can never stand behind somebody stealing something from anybody, because it was money put into that. It was resources put into it. It was tears. It was work put into that stuff that they acquired, and they didn't have to do anything for it but steal it. So for me, I am truly hoping that I keep saying Ubisoft, Insomniac, will find these guys and get them arrested ASAP. I truly hope that happens. Insomniac, I hope you guys land on your feet. I hope that these guys are not able to get this $2 million out of them, or $2 million from somebody on the web, on an auction, to actually buy this stuff. I hope they come up empty-handed, as it were. But again, Insomniac, I'm a big fan of them. I love their work. Their work ethic is like something I've never seen before. I was never a fan of Insomniac. I have to just say this one more time. I know I've talked about it before, but I have to say it again. I was never a fan of their work. I mean, Sunset Overdrive, I enjoyed that. I thought that game was dope. But as far as Ratchet and Clank goes, I didn't become a fan until the PlayStation 4 version of that game. And then when I played it, I had just become such a fan between that and Sunset Overdrive. And then them releasing Spider-Man in 2018, I was like, oh man. Then they go from that to Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, then Spider-Man Miles Morales, then Spider-Man 2. I'm like, these guys are amazing. They're workhorses. So when I see something like that, and I understand their company, their business, I get that. They're in it for the money. Nothing more, nothing less. I 100% understand that. But when you see somebody doing the kind of work that they do, I don't think it's anything wrong with admiring that and saying, wow, I just can't believe you guys are capable of doing such things in such a short period of time, when these other developers are taking 5 to 7 years to do something that's taking you guys 2 to 3 to be able to do. So that's why this kind of hits a little bit for me. I'm just a fan of them. And I hope that, again, they're able to land on their feet with this, and that these guys don't get a nickel out of them. Let's go ahead and move into the next story. Well, oh man, this one right here. Got this from GameSpot. Well, brothers and sisters, it's official. E3 is dead. ESA president and CEO Stanley Pierre-Louis said, quote, "We know the entire industry, players and creators alike, have a lot of passion for E3. We share that passion. We know it's difficult to say goodbye to such a beloved event, but it's the right thing to do given the new opportunities our industry has to reach fans and partners." End of quote. A E3 Twitter post read, now this was from E3 themselves. They said, quote, "After more than 2 decades of E3, each one bigger than the last, the time has come to say goodbye. Thanks for the memories, GGWP." End of quote. And if you guys were wondering what GGWP means, it stands for good game, well played. E3 was around from 1995 to officially 2023. What I want to do is give E3 just a moment of silence. E3, rest easy. You gave me some of the greatest gaming memories that I have ever had in my gaming life. From reading about it in magazines, to G4 actually having it on TV, to Jeff Keighley taking it over, to then it being online, then being, at one point in time, it was on DVD. E3, I salute you. We lost a real one right there, man. Lost a real one. I would love to know you guys' favorite E3 moments. Because E3 was something I would take off of work for. I'm sure all of us who were working took off from work at least for the first day, because you wanted to know what was going to happen. This is before the internet. You might be able to record it with the DVR. I don't even know if I had a DVR back then. You had to catch it in real time back then, back in the early days, or reading it in the magazines, EGM, or it was a magazine I used to love called Next Generation magazine. You had to wait to get that information, man. So for me, if I'm speaking for myself and I'm looking at the DVD right now on my shelf, it is E3 2005. Man, oh man, oh man. That E3, hey brother. I don't know if y'all remember that joint. That was when they showed off, and hopefully I got the year right. That was the year they showed off Killzone that was supposed to be on PlayStation 3. They were showing off Dirt Rally. I mean, these graphics look like graphics that we are just getting today with the PlayStation 5. When I saw that Killzone demo, well, we know it was a lie now, but at the time when I thought that Killzone gameplay was real, I said, oh my gosh, this is insanity. That right there, man, that was Sony. Boy, oh boy, that was capital cap Sony right there. They was lying to all of us the whole doggone time. Those jokers were very, very sly with that show, because none of that was true. When Guerrilla Games found out that they had to match those visuals, or at least come as close as they could to those E3 demo visuals, them jokers went into panic mode. They said, you gotta be kidding me. How are we gonna do this? This is impossible. But that E3, that was the glitz, the glamour. I mean, it was everything that we could have, well, I'll speak for me, that I could have hoped for at the time. It was incredible, sensational. So I would love to get you guys' favorite E3 years. I mean, you could even go, what was it, 2016, I believe it was, with God of War. Then they had Shenmue, Final Fantasy Remake actually had got announced. It was whatever E3 that was for PlayStation when they made all of those announcements. I mean, it's been some great great E3 moments, but I would love for you guys to tell me some of your favorite E3 years. But again, E3, man, oh man, lived to be 28 years old as a event. It will be sorely missed. And June, it'll never be the same. I mean, I know that we've been removed from E3 officially for like the last 2 or maybe close to 3 years, somewhere around there. So it hasn't had a presence. But for me, it was just nothing better than E3. And now that it's officially gone, you know, those June months, you know, when E3 would happen, it's just never going to be the same. But, you know, like everything evolves. We got to move on, got to move forward. And, you know, something else will hopefully take that void of what E3 used to be. Let's go ahead, guys, and let's move on into the next story. And this story I actually got from Gaming Bible. So, you know, that's my site, man. Shout out to them. I have no idea who they are, like they're like anybody personally. I don't know who they are. But I just love the way they write their stories. Man, shout out to them. But, in Techland news, the original Dying Light, which was, from 2015, is getting a free remaster patch for PlayStation 5 that will give the game performance mode, and that's going to be 60 frames per second, running at 1080p. They're also going to have a balanced mode that's going to be targeting 60 frames per second, and it's going to have 1440p resolution. And they have graphics mode that's going to be 30 frames per second in 4K. Now, if you have an Xbox, unfortunately, they said that the Xbox version will be coming soon, and they actually announced that on Twitter. So for any of you guys that have been into Dying Light, that are dying to go back to 2015's Dying Light to see what these features will bring to the table officially on the PlayStation 5, you will be able to do so right now. Let's move on into the, what is this? Yeah, this is some Fallout news. So I got this from Gamatsu. Now, speaking of patches and updates, Fallout 4 next gen update has been delayed. Now, this is the quote. Well, the official Fallout account tweeted out, quote, "Thank you for your patience with us as we work on the Fallout 4 next gen update. We know you're excited, and so are we, but we need a bit more time and look forward to an exciting return to the Commonwealth in 2024. End of quote. So if any of you guys were trying to get back into Fallout 4, thought it was going to happen this year, unfortunately, it will be sometime in 2024. They never gave a month, a date, or anything like that. Just a year, 2024, and we're just a couple of days away from that. So this will be something to look forward to. I mean, I look at it as the good thing is, and you guys know me, I'm not a Fallout fan. I actually bought Fallout 4 and never booted it up. It's still on my hard drive. I never played it once, but it's a Bethesda game, and y'all know I'm not a big Bethesda fan, as it were. But for you guys that are, the good news about this that comes out of this is they are still working on this update, this next gen update, and it'll be coming out next year. I'm telling you, I'm thinking that next year in 2024, that's when Xbox is going to start revving up the heat a little bit. And I was actually, oh man, I got to go on a side note. Oh, shucks. I was talking to somebody last night. Now I'm going to have them remain nameless because they didn't give me permission to say their names. And I want to be respectful because I really respect this man. But we were having a conversation at his home. This man invited me to his home. And my goodness, oh man, hey man, the hospitality from this brother was absolutely sensational. Before I go any further, brother, I know you know that I'm talking to you. And brother, I just want to say thank you, man. Gotta give this brother some love, man. Oh, my goodness. Man, this brother invited me over to his home. This guy has blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. I played PlayStation VR 2 over at this brother's house. Oh, man. Hey, brother. Absolutely amazing. This brother let me into his man cave. I ain't never seen nothing like this in my life. I mean, the stuff that this brother had, man, this brother had all, I ain't gonna say I won't put too much of his personal stuff out there, but I'm just saying, this brother, man, he let me play PlayStation VR 2. Y'all know I hadn't played VR 2. I mean, I got the original PlayStation VR. I'm looking at it on my shelf in the box. I never opened it. It came with Astrobot and Moss, and I never took it out the box. So he said, man, before you go, I gotta have you play some VR 2. He put that Gran Turismo on for a brother. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Now, I had such a blast with that PSVR 2. That thing is amazing. I mean, he put on Resident Evil 4 for me. Oh, man. Oh, man. Hey, brothers. It was dope. It was absolutely dope. This brother's whole setup, everything that he had going on, it was fantastic. Brother, I just wanted to shout you out, man. Just go on the side note. I don't want to derail the show too much, but I had to give this brother some love, man, because we were talking and I was telling him, just getting back on track, that I think that Xbox is going to have a much, much better year in 2024. Cause he was like, man, Kiaun, what do they have? They ain't got nothing right now. And I'm like, man, you know me. I'm always hard on Xbox cause I don't think they have anything either, but I was like, man, I think 2024, that's going to be the time when they turn it around. I mean, they got Senua, the Hellblade game, Hellblade 2 coming out. They got, what is Fallout 4? I understand it's an old game, but it is an update. It's an upgrade. Fable may be coming out next year. I know they got the other game. First person shooter is coming out as well. They're sitting on Doom. They're sitting on so many Activision IPs. I just really think that next year is going to be the time when Xbox starts to finally strike a little bit more. So when I hear that this Fallout update is coming out next year, this just adds to the fuel for what they have coming next year, in my opinion. Hopefully I'm not wrong. I really, really hope that next year is a much better year than they had this year, but we will see. Let's move on into the next story. And again, shout out to you, brother. Man, this hospitality, everything was, it was absolutely incredible. But I want to stay on track. I want to stay on point. But again, I thank you, brother, publicly. I just wanted to thank you for that. It was just amazing meeting you and your family. It was it was sensational. But let's go ahead and move on. Oh man, I had a blast. I ain't getting the house till like almost 5 o'clock in the morning. It was phenomenal. But let's go ahead and get into this next story that I got from PC Gamer. So let's talk about Naughty Dog. Oh my gracious, one of my favorites. I will put that out there. Because this week the hammer was dropped and Factions has been canceled. Naughty Dog said, quote, "In ramping up to full production, the massive scope of our ambition became clear to release and support The Last of Us Online. We'd have to put all our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come. Severely impacting development on future single-player games. So we had two paths in front of us: become a solely live service game studio or continue to focus on single player narrative games that have defied Naughty Dog's heritage. End of quote. Now, what I will say to this Naughty Dog, and y'all know me, Naughty Dog is one of my favorites. The Last of Us Part 2, I hold it at the highest regard. I hold it at a super high standard. I'm on record, and I'll say it every single time, that The Last of Us Part 2 was my favorite game of last generation. I stand on it. So, for me, I'm again a little jaded when it comes to Naughty Dog. But when I hear them come out and make this kind of statement, I look at this and I want to put this out there as well. I am not a factions fan. You guys know I don't play online. I'm about that single player experience. I'm about that. I love the stories in the game. So I'm not even going to sit up here and have this fake outrage that, oh, they canceled it. How could they do such a thing? Naughty Dog. No. That's not my angle. But when I hear this, well, not hear it, but when I read this, I look at it and I don't think it's genuine. I don't think this is a genuine statement. There are plenty of different developers that have made a game, had some online modes, and they were able to continue and move on in development with something else. This does not have to be now, unless now maybe I should take the, disingenuous off the table, because it could be a situation where Sony might have told Naughty Dog that if you guys are going to release this, then this is what you guys are going to be working on. So any of those single player games, and this is exactly what they said, but I'm just running it through my mind, running it through the paces of how it could have actually been. But maybe Sony, since they were going very, very hard into that, games as a service, into that lane, maybe they were telling Naughty Dog, look, if y'all are going to do this, y'all are going to do this factions, or if you want to call it The Last of Us Online, whatever it's going to be, you guys got to be committed to this for the next several years. And all of those other projects that you were working on, that's going to come to a screeching halt. So make a decision. Are you going to do this? You can get with this or you can get with that, pretty much. And Naughty Dog chose, well, look, we're not going to be locked down to an online mode for years to come. And, it's going to, pretty much take away the thing that we are known for, which is, single player story focused games. So if this is true, then I definitely applaud that. I definitely think Naughty Dog is way better at telling stories and the single player experience versus having them do an online game. And that's all they'll be focused on. I think they would be completely cheating the gaming industry out of their greatness if Sony actually put them in that lane for a long period of time. So maybe this was genuine. Maybe this was what really happened. But to me, I don't think that every game, the reason why I was thinking it was disingenuous, because I want to go down that path just a little bit. I'm thinking to myself, it doesn't necessarily have to be a long-term commitment. I don't remember the first factions, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, that were into that were really playing that game on a daily basis or, just really knee deep into it. I don't recall them doing like a ton of updates on that mode. Like every single month, they got to come up with something different. So I was thinking that they were going to play it kind of in that same lane. I understand Naughty Dog as a whole did say that the scope and their ambition became, massive, it became bigger than what they could pretty much be able to handle. I get that. But all you had to do was just maybe back off a little bit more That way you could have had the product come out for the people that are looking forward to it, that want to play it. Because, I mean, they say, look, something is better. Now, they say something is better than nothing. I don't know if I agree with that all the time, because sometimes things can come out worse, terrible. And then you're thinking to yourself, dag, y'all could have kept that, So I'm not going to say that, them releasing anything would have been better than nothing. But for the people that just wanted factions and, you didn't have to necessarily make like map packs every single month or every other month or different modes like that, I think they would have been fine with it. But, it's hard to say. So I will say that I guess this is good for a person like myself that wants Naughty Dog to make more single player experiences for me. It does suck, for people that actually do love the online mode, but they had to make a decision. And the thing that I found extremely interesting was at one point in time, they had said that they had been working on this. This thing had been in pre-production for like 3 years. They were working on this mode while they were working on The Last of Us Part 2. So they were simultaneously working on both at the same time. And the fact that they couldn't get it out of pre-production, that was a mind blow. I couldn't believe that. So, all of that talk of Neil Druckmann saying that it's coming, you guys are going to be excited. It's going to be amazing. I guess that brother was just blowing smoke, unfortunately, because as a result, we don't have the game. It was said it was still in pre-production. And they couldn't do both. They couldn't make single player and make an online experience at the same time. So Naughty Dog, hopefully with this being put to bed, let's think about this on a positive note. With this, for some like myself that weren't tripping on the mode at all, weren't going to play it. For people like me, again, this is great news. Unfortunately, for the ones that were looking forward to this is bad news. But let's look at it from a positive from both sides. This goes to show that, hey, now maybe since this is done away with, they've made the announcement, it's officially over. Now maybe we finally get a look at what Naughty Dog has been working on, what has been their next project, that project that we've been hearing, well, not lately so much about, but in the past, so many different things about it being a male and a female protagonist and dealing with space or something like that. Hopefully we will finally get some information on that now, because now they can move forward. They're no longer chained to this and having to make up excuses as to why factions isn't being shown. Look, that's unfortunately dead in the water. We can move on. So Naughty Dog, please show us what you guys are working on next. Hopefully that's the next thing up at bat, but we will see. Let's get into our final story for this week. And I also got this story from, of course, Gaming Bible. So earlier this week, despite what is going on over there at Insomniac Games, Insomniac did announce on social media that New Game Plus mode for Spider-Man 2 is coming, as well as audio descriptions. And Insomniac says, quote, "We are now targeting early 2024 for the next game update, and we'll have a feature complete list closer to its release. We've heard your feedback and will be adding some highly requested features, including the ability to change the time of day, swap tendril colors, and replay missions, just to name a few." End of quote. So for any of you guys that have played Spider-Man 2 and you guys were looking for a reason to jump back into the game, I still haven't played it. Hopefully I will be playing it soon. Man, I'm all tongue-tied all episode long. I've been tongue-tied all over my words. Pardon me. But again, for any of you guys that wanted to have a reason to go back to Spider-Man 2, go in there for the new game plus, got all of your weapons, all of your abilities. That mode will be releasing in 2024, again, with some added features that people have been asking about as well. So that is good news. But anyway, that is the end of the gaming news this week. And we will be back after this week's video game theater. But before we get into that video game theater, I want to let you guys know we're gonna take a look back at 2016 at a game called Quantum Break. When that was released, that game was amazing. It was good. But we're going to take a look back at a pivotal scene in the game when everything changed. So we will be back with our final section of the podcast after this week's Video Game Theater. Stay tuned, guys.
There's no time to stop now. We need to test the other direction. Set the machine to 5 minutes to the future. What are you doing? Oh no. Jack. Will? You have to help me with this. We have to shut this thing down now. No, stop him! Shut up!
Hold
Damage
on.
the core!
Hold on. We can't shut it down. Paul's still in there.
Will!
Shut up! Look
Shut
at me.
up!
Look at me. Put the gun down and we can talk, okay?
No, there's no time.
You're not thinking straight. Put the gun down. Jesus Christ, Will.
Time is going to end. Jack, you have to trust me.
Or what? I gotta let you out.
Oh God! No!
You okay?
I think so. I'll find a way out. Make sure Will's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I could hear Will's words in my head. Time is going to end.
And welcome back. Quantum Break. Golly, the game was good, man. I had a good time with Quantum Break. I know that came out during the period where everybody was dumping on Xbox and saying that it had no games. That was a very pivotal year though. 2016, that was the first time we had heard of Xbox having games released on PC day and date. And that's when I knew it was going to be trouble. When I heard that, I said, man, this is not going to end well. When you're giving people another option not to have to buy your console, that is not going to end well. And so far, we see the numbers with the Xbox. It is not selling well. It is not doing what they were hoping for it to do. They have all of these different teams. They have all of these acquisitions that have happened in that time frame, but nobody is finding a reason to get an Xbox because you're giving people so many different options to go to outside of the box. Which leads me to this week's question that I want to ask you guys. Again, is Blade, well, this is the first time I'm asking y'all, but is Blade Xbox exclusive? Now it is people out there on different podcasts. Shout out to you, brothers. I have nothing but love for y'all, but it is some podcasts out there that are saying definitively it is Xbox exclusive. You know this. You know it's by the Bethesda team. You know, they didn't do Deathloop or anything, but it's in that, I forget the name of that studio. Arcane Studios. You know that they're first party. Yes, Blade is an exclusive. It should be a no-brainer. The thing about it is that I understand what they're saying. Yes, logically, when you're thinking about it, you see a first party studio that is developing a game. You think to yourself, it must be exclusive to that platform. But not Sony, Microsoft has done such a horrible job at conveying that to people, so much so that all they had to do with a game like Blade, Marvel, Blade, you got a superhero game, for goodness sake. We've been asking you, Microsoft, time and time again, get a superhero game, get something. PlayStation is out here with Spider-Man. Now they got doggone Wolverine. What are you gonna do? And they finally get a big name. They get Blade. Oh, shucks. This is a win. And they're at the Game Awards and everything is going great. Blew my mind. Shout out. Oh, hold up. Shout out to them. Man, Xbox showed up at that show. Darn. They took over the Game Awards. That Kojima game, what is it, OD? Did you see the Gratner? Hold on. Now, y'all know, hold on. I'm not going to go another 10 minutes here, but I completely forgot about that. They did, oh, shucks. Nah, Xbox was on one. They were on one. That show was phenomenal. That OD game, seeing the faces, then they were saying that it's some kind of, I hate when I say they. It's just these different reports, different websites are saying that and PT are actually some kind of way connected to one another because they saw some writing on one of the characters' tongues that were talking in the OD demo that they were showing off. I was like, God, dog, this thing is crazy. Now, y'all know me, Kojima. Man, he's an OG. I got nothing but respect for Kojima. But lately, man, hey, listen, that Death Stranded, that wasn't it for me, brothers. Nah, Kojima, to me, he's lost a step or two, you know, so I'm not really that excited for OD, but I gotta admit, I gotta be honest. When I saw the graphics on that Joker, I said, oh man, I might be sold on this one, Kojima. This is something else. This is interesting. But just the fact that they showed that off, they showed off Blade, they showed off something else there at the show. I can't even think, but they had a heck of a presence at that show. They were just on it. And when they showed Blade come up on the screen, all they had to do was say Xbox exclusive. It could have deaded everything. Now, I understand some people have a theory that those people are after Microsoft. Of course, they reopened up the case to FTC. They were saying, hey, maybe they're covering themselves because they might have it be a situation where they say, see, they got an exclusive, and because of this exclusive, that's why we didn't want them to buy Activision and all of that stuff. I kind of find that a little far reaching, in my opinion. But That's the thing. The thing about Xbox, they have the worst messaging out there. Whenever Nintendo shows something, you know that is going to be an exclusive. Whenever PlayStation shows something, you know it's going to be an exclusive. If it's not on just the PlayStation, then it's going to be, of course, on PC. You know, if it's going to be on another platform. But Xbox, they make it clear. You know, certain games are going to still show up on PlayStation. They can't wait to get Nintendo into the fold. Call of Duty will be showing up on that platform. And I get it. Call of Duty, that is, you know, it's 10 years on that. So they got to share that for at least the next decade. Makes complete sense. But let's not forget, and I just talked about that maybe an episode or two ago, Nintendo actually got Banjo-Kazooie off of Microsoft. You know, they got Ori off of Microsoft. Cuphead as well off of Microsoft. So for me, Xbox, you never know where their games are going to go. And I understand those games are not first party, but they were published by Microsoft, if I'm not mistaken, Ori and Cuphead, I believe. They don't own them, but they did publish them. So that would mean that they would have the rights to have them go to other platforms. I mean, to not go to other platforms if they didn't want them to. But you guys can please, you know, correct me and let me know if I'm wrong on that. But so, you know, when you think about it from that perspective, you don't know what is going to where when it comes to Xbox, because they're so wishy-washy when it comes to their messaging. They never just come out and say, no, that's exclusive. That's exclusive. We had to find out behind the scenes that Indiana Jones was exclusive to their platform through leaked documents and things of that nature. So that is my question to you guys. Is Blade exclusive to Xbox? I would love to get to know you guys' opinions. If you think it's true. And just to add a bit of a bonus question onto that, is their messaging very confusing? That should be the better question. Is their messaging I had to figure out if I'm going to ask, is Blade exclusive or is Xbox's messaging confusing? I don't know. I guess when you guys see the episode come up, you guys will know where I sided. But anyway, as always, thank you guys so much. And if you do want to be a part of, you know, the feedback episode to answer these questions, you can either call in at 443-380-0281, or you can email the show, and the email address is theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and again, I truly, truly want to thank you guys for tuning in. I don't think I'm going to be recording next Sunday. I don't think so. I'm supposed to be seeing some family next week, so I don't think I'm going to record a new episode next week, but I will try. And you guys know I never want to promise something I can't do or can't keep the promise. So what I'll say is I will do my best effort to maybe try to record something a little later this week to make up for the episode that I won't be able to do the following week. But we'll see how it all works out. You know, again, if you guys want to be a part of feedback, that's a episode I'll do, but I'll also try to do another episode outside of the feedback. So, yeah. But again, thank you guys for being here. I'm going to go ahead, wrap it up and put the bow on it. But before we officially do that, always remember one thing. It is not about the consoles. It is about the game. So maybe coming up on Wednesday, we might do it again. But until we do, always, just take care. Be safe out there. I butchered this one. Bye-bye.